All right, I'm on the phone with head football coach Mark Shields from the MDI Trojans. And, Coach, congratulations. A big victory over Oceanside. It wasn't easy, although the final score looked like it was easy.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. You're absolutely right. Look at the score and 51-14.
Yep.
You say, well, that was a blowout. And, if you saw the second half, you probably would have thought that. But for those of us who were there for the first half, we know that, that was a close game. And to start out, and they led us for a while in that game. And, once again, they run that double wing offense and those tight splits and put those athletes behind it. And you could try to replicate that in defense, for your defense to play against. But ultimately, until you see that live and the speed of it, it's going to take some time to figure that out. And fortunately, our kids, it did take some time, but fortunately they did figure it out. And, I saw some quotes from the head coach down there at Oceanside, and, he commended our defense, and I'll commend Mark Arnold for having, a strong game plan against that. And the big thing about that offense is you kind of have to, your linebackers have to be patient as far as flowing to the ball, because you see the ball start going outside off the edge, and everybody wants to flow to the outside, and what that running back will do is he'll cut it back inside, and that's where they pick up their big gains most of the time. And it took us some time to figure that out. I mean, that's what Mark had, repped all week, and the kids, you get excited in the game and what have you, but the kids finally, as the game went along, figured that out, and we were able to stop that cutback, and it was a great game plan on Mark's part, and we're fortunate enough to get the win and now move on to the Northern Maine Championship.
Well, the other thing, too, is that they were running some reverses. And, if you're not staying home, you're gonna let Norton Jr. get outside and he's off to the races. I mean, as it was, he did score once on a catch and run when he split the defensive backs.
Yeah, it's true. And they run that reverse, that counter play very well, and we knew that was a big play that they like to run when they need a big play. A lot of times they'll run that on 3rd and long and try to bust him for a long one. And fortunately, for the most part, I thought we did a decent job containing that play specifically. And I thought overall defensively we played great. Yeah, we had there was one play, that pass play to Norton for a touchdown, and we had two guys in position, and for whatever reason we didn't make the play, but I thought overall defensively we were strong, and then offensively, we got it rolling. I mean, the first series was a good series, and second series not great, and I'll honestly take the blame on that. I didn't think my play calling was great for that specific series, but once we got into the flow of the game, I thought offensively we did pretty well, and then overall special teams. Gilbert Isaacs now, he's a star.
Let's talk about that. I mean, now I've got Adam Gray is wanting to know how come you never did that when he was doing this. I mean, what a hidden secret weapon having Big Gilbert 6'7", 300 plus, and I say that as a big boy myself. I mean, 300 plus. He's a big boy, and him rumbling in for 3 2-point conversions was just masterful.
Yeah, it was. It was one of those things that early in the season, some of the guys kept saying to us, coaches, we got to put Gilbert in the backfield. We got to put Gilbert in the backfield. I'm thinking, if you move Gilbert off the front line and put him in the backfield, that means that you're taking one of your best offensive linemen off the line. But once again, I'm going to have to give credit to Mark Arnold. Mark, he runs our PAT team after scores, and he likes to mix it up. And so this week we're all out there for practice, and he says, Gilbert, get out here in the backfield, and everybody just started cheering. And so we started giving Gilbert the ball, and he seemed pretty comfortable back there. And now he's a star. He's a celebrity these days, Gilbert. So But I was real happy for him, and yeah, he's a big boy, and he's hard to stop, for 3 yards, and he had a couple big runs for us for sure.
So, I mean, you talk about your defense there. Norton Jr., I had him for 27 yards. I mean, this is somebody that led the conference, and, I mean, you compare the MDI rushing 424 yards to Oceanside 69 yards. I mean, what a dominating defensive performance.
Yeah, like we said, overall our defense played really well, and to shut down what they want to do, and they want to ground and pound, like us. They want to run the football, and once again, I'll give Mark Arnold, all the kudos. He had a great game plan, a good scheme against what they wanted to do, and Mark spends hour upon hour breaking down film on our opponent, and and then he figures out tendencies of our opponents and personnel and everything that goes into running the defense. The defense is always more time-consuming than the offense usually, because you have to break down so much film to figure out what teams really want to do, and Mark does a great job with that. And once again against Oceanside, he had a great scheme, and it paid off for us in that game.
What about, I'm laughing here because I look at the receiving yardage for MDI. It was one reception for -6 yards. It was Andrew Phelps to Andrew Phelps. And, you gotta tease Andrew there, because the ball was batted back, and rather than letting it fall on the ground, he caught it and then was tackled for a loss.
Yeah, that one was interesting because I saw the stats after the game, and I honestly couldn't remember the play, and then there might have been your stats actually,
yeah.
WDEA, and it said 1 for -6, Phelps to Phelps, and I'm like, all right, Papa must have messed that up or something here. And then I go back and look on film, and sure enough, it was a play that the ball got batted back at Andrew, and he caught it and tried to make a play. But yeah, I guess it's safe to say that the pass game was not as prolific as the run game for sure last Friday night, but we were real pleased with the run game overall.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at the stats that I had. Colby Lee, 15 carries, 222 yards. Croy Albee, 20 carries, 97 yards. Elijah Joyce, 2 carries, 39 yards. Billy Curley, 8 carries, 29 yards. Andrew Phelps, 3 carries, 23 yards. Colby Butler, a carry for 6 yards. Ethan Harkins, a carry for 5 yards. Sam Mitchell, a carry for 5 yards. And James McConomy took a knee a couple times, 2 carries for -2. But, just outstanding effort there last Friday night.
Yeah, and I like to give the credit to those running backs, but you also got to give credit to the big boys up front. And Tony DeMero, my line coach, does a great job with those guys. And, they've been getting it done for us this year, no doubt about it. I mean, it's one of the best offensive lines that we've ever seen here at MDI, and, with a great backfield behind that. And, we keep talking about diversity in the offense, and, any team wants to have diversity in their offense. And what I mean by that is the more people that touch the ball, the better for your offense to be successful. And, when teams can't key on one guy, then it makes it difficult to stop that team. And we have the same problem against opponents that, have a lot of diversity in what they do. So, the more guys touch it, the better it is for us. And, we have confidence in all those guys.
All right, a question I've had a couple of weeks, and I know people have asked the same question, and I keep forgetting. The little stickers on the helmets, how do the kids earn those?
Yep, so the stickers on the helmet, so we have Trojan heads and we have skull and crossbones, and, a lot of programs have had this tradition, and it was a tradition that I enjoyed when I played in the Skowhegan system, and I adopted what they did down there, the system that I grew up in. So for me, Trojan heads are awarded to every player if we win a game, so everybody gets one Trojan head sticker. And then I award offensively anyone that is on the field for a score.
Okay.
So not usually for extra points, but for touchdowns and field goals and that sort of thing. Also, we will award stickers to players, say like Gilbert Isaacs, who gets a lot of pancake blocks where he actually blocks his guy and puts him on his backside.
Yeah.
We'll give a sticker for that. And so we'll be specific with certain things. And then defensively, if we get a shutout for a game, the entire defense would get the skull and crossbones. So we try to give the skull and crossbones for the special teams and defense. If a kid gets an interception, a fumble recovery, caused a fumble, a sack, that sort of stuff, then a player would get a sticker. And, they keep track of that stuff. And speaking of stickers, I ran out here a couple of weeks ago. I ordered more, and then those all went. So I actually just today ordered more stickers. I told the guys if we were able to get to the Northern Maine Championship, I would order more, and I did today. So I'm hoping that those will get to my house before the Northern Maine game. But those kids, they love those stickers.
Oh yeah! All right, so game ball. Who did you or are going to award the game ball to?
Yeah, the staff and I have been kind of throwing that around, and this is a really tough one because it was one of those games where so many guys, played well, and it's been typical for us this year. And I've been trying to focus on my seniors because those guys have been playing great. But this game ball, I'm actually going to give to Elijah Joyce. Elijah is a junior, and Elijah, when you think about football players, a football player, a tough-nosed, hard-nosed kid. Elijah's it. He's just one of those guys that goes about his business. He doesn't say much. He's not a guy that I'd like to meet in a dark alley, in the city somewhere, because I would lose badly to him. But he's just a guy that when you think about the epitome of a football player, I think of Elijah Joyce, because he's just that guy that, on the offensive side of the ball, he's a hard runner, and the defensive side of the ball, he's one of our best tacklers, and special teams, he's everywhere, and he's just one of those guys that we can plug in almost any position. Maybe not the offensive line, although he'd probably be a great pulling guard. But he's just that guy that he can play almost anywhere. So we're going to go with Elijah Joyce this week, and it's well-deserved.
All right. So the regional final this Saturday night, November 11th, 7 o'clock in Bar Harbor, against the MCI Huskies, who upset the number 2 Winslow Black Raiders. Went down to Pittsfield, beat MCI back on September 29th. The final score 35-24. It was a game that wasn't as close as the score indicated, but yet we all know that MCI has made great strides since a month ago.
Yeah. So, the line on this game is such that, for starters, and you and I have been doing this a long time, we know that past games don't mean anything towards future games. I mean, you learn from those games, but as far as trying to predict, who's going to win the second game based on the first game many times, is pretty unreliable.
Right.
And it's definitely true for this game. We went down there, right, and it seemed like forever ago that we went down there, and, we played well that night, the first half, and, were able to get a lead, and then they were able to come back, in the second half. But, for this game here, I look at this team, and, I was thinking about their program. This is their 4th straight Northern Maine Championship that they're attending, 4 years in a row.
A Class D state final, state gold ball winner last year.
Right. So they've won the 3 that they've been in, the Northern Maine Championships, and then last year they were able to get the gold ball. So they won that. I believe it was over Lisbon. Then, you look at, they went down to Winslow and beat Winslow on their own field, Pullen Field, and that hasn't been done, since 2014, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Winslow, hasn't been beaten down there. So that alone right there tells you that this program knows how to win big football games. So if anybody believes that this is like some sort of shoe-in win for the Trojans, unfortunately you are going to be sorely disappointed. This team is going to come to play.
Right.
They've made some adjustments with their personnel. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They are big play. They have big play capability. I saw that. I was down watching the game between them and Winslow on Saturday. And it was big play after big play. And special teams, 2 big special teams. They blocked the punt, and they faked the punt and got the first down. You know, this team, they're just very well coached. Coach Bertrand does a great job down there. You know, he's got his assistants do a great job. Woody Moore, he went to high school with Woody at Skowhegan. He's one of his top assistants. I mean, these guys just know how to win big football games. So this, you know, I know for some people like, oh, we're not playing Winslow. That's great. But this team beat Winslow. So that tells you right there that this team's better than Winslow right now. And they played, you know, that way Saturday. I mean, they were ahead most of the game, and Winslow, to their credit, and boy, they're tough too, they battled back to try to win the game, but fell a little short. So, you know, this is going to be a close football game with 2 teams that can put some points on the board and 2 really good defenses. So it's going to be interesting. But, you know, to try to compare the last time we played to this time, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, I remember, what was it, Teagan, Cannage, John Phelps, those guys, I think it was their senior year, we played Old Town the very last game of the year, and we went up there, I think we beat them like 35-7, something like that.
Yep.
And we had them the next week in a quarterfinal, and we told the guys, listen, this game will be nothing like last week's game. Trust me, that they've had plenty of time to make adjustments, and sure enough, I think we won that game by maybe a touchdown over Old Town. So, you know, it's just one of those things that for us, like we always say, we got to just keep getting better at what we're doing. And, you know, we'll go about our business like we normally do, and we'll prepare. And, you know, we're going to have a great week of practice to get a chance to beat this team, because they're going to come down here and they're going to expect to win. You know, they've been winning all along. They haven't lost a Northern Maine championship in the last 3 years, so they expect to come down here and beat us, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Well, I mean, as it is in the playoffs, you lose, you collect uniforms and helmets on Monday, and you want to keep going for another week.
Yep. Everybody wants to get to that state game, you know, and that's true for MCI as well. You know, their goal at the beginning of the season was to win a state championship, you know, just like any team and like our team. And so you got to win, you know, and you're right. I mean, it's win or go home. And, you know, unfortunately, Saturday night about 9:30, there's going to be one team that's going to be really disappointed, you know, and one team that's going to be super excited for the opportunity to go to a state championship. And, you know, we're hoping that we're the team that has that shot, but it's going to take a great game to beat this team.
All right, what do you want to say to the fans? You've had it. Listen, the attendance on a crummy night last Friday when it had rained most of the day was fantastic. This Friday night, temperatures in the 20s, but you hope to have that sideline just absolutely chock-a-block full.
Yeah, you know, I know there's been a good buzz around the island and communities surrounding that island, you know, regarding the football program. And you're right, we've had an amazing crowd all the way through the playoffs. It's just been phenomenal. It's been great. And, you know, I know Saturday night it's supposed to be pretty cold out there.
You won't be wearing shorts.
Yeah, you know, but I think you're going to see an amazing football game between 2 really good football teams, and it definitely would be worth you coming out to watch. And, you know, for us as your fans, you know, you being our fans, our guys really do feel, you know, that energy from our fans and our band and our cheerleaders and everybody involved that's supporting us. So the more people that can get out there, the better it is for us. So we're really hoping that we can get people out, and we truly appreciate all the support you've given us.
And I love the fog machine. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, oh, don't tempt fate by asking Mother Nature to duplicate the fog. But having the fog machine, having the boys run out through the fog, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, they like that. I think Abram Malloy may have been instrumental in that, but I'm not sure. Maybe Troy Albee.
Abram leads the team out. I mean, it's generally what I see.
Yeah, he's the one I think that told me we had a fog machine. So I don't know where that came from, but I was like, hey, I'm all in. Whatever works for you guys. As long as you get excited, that's good by me. So.
All right, Coach. Best of luck this week. We'll talk to you on Friday, and as we get ready for the Northern Maine Regional Finals.
All right, thanks, Chris. All right, thanks, Chris.